He's come prepared. He has a speech.
Yeah, I'm borrowing the thing.
The thing.
Because this means a lot to me, so I want to do it properly. Back in 1974, when Ian Hunter wrote the words, "Don't want to be hip, but Grant, thanks for a great trip," we probably all knew something was not well. And when the chorus of Saturday Gigs wrote out on the word goodbye, I think it was some kind of confirmation. Confirmation that a 5-year trip had come to an end. But it all began very differently back in 1969 when Mick Ralphs kicked down the door of an office in Island Records, quite possibly Chris Blackwell's, and wouldn't take no for an answer. That's when my journey with this wonderful band first began. The first song I ever heard they ever played was the original Mixed Up Kid, which was, apart from being on the Wildlife album, was on an Island compilation album called LP, which had a big P on the cover. And again, Chris Blackwell is quite possibly responsible for that. I was hooked. I really was hooked. I still remember Downtown, a song they did called Downtown was Record of the Week on Radio Luxembourg. It cemented my relationship with this band. But back then, I had no idea that they were going through the crisis that would split them up, and the crisis that would send Over and Watts to the David Bowie camp looking for a job. And on hearing this, David Bowie said, absolutely not. Here's a song you can have instead. Luckily for all of us, they turned it down because it was Suffragette City. And Mott the Hoople doing Suffragette City, I don't think has the same kind of ring. However, once they were presented with the song All the Young Dudes, the gift that is All the Young Dudes, well, the rest is history. They picked up the slack. They discovered how to create hit singles. And they also learned how to make great records and produce great records. Just cop the production and the presentation of the Mott album, and that's all you need for the proof. But then Mick Ralphs, he left, and it all started to unravel again. However, the legacy that this band has left behind influenced a multitude of artists, as diverse as myself, Morrissey, Queen, and The Clash, who had in their ranks a member of the Sea Divers fan club in the one Mick Jones. And let's not forget that the wonderful distinction that they have of getting rock and roll banned from the Albert Hall back in 1971, which is not bad for a funny little band from Hereford. So finally, as they prepare themselves for their week-long stint at the Hammersmith Odeon, as it always should be known as, just so you know. Thank you. I think I can be forgiven for saying on the eve of my own very 60-date long summer tour that the gigs I'm most looking forward to this year occur in the first week of October. I will be there because after all I've said, after all I've been through with this band and beyond, I've never seen them live. So finally, I feel very privileged and I'm very proud to be able to present the MOJO Hall of Fame Award and tour in no particular order, and with the exception of the missing member, Over and Watts, Mick Ralphs, Dale Griffin, Verden Allen, and Ian Hunter. Ladies and gentlemen, Mott the fucking Hoople!
Do you remember Guy Stevens? He's the one who started it off with Island Records. Guy Stevens, an amazing producer. He started all sorts of people off, The Clash and everybody, and that's all sorts of people. Is Ian?
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Okay. You only get one?
You only get one.
There's going to be a fight here. I had a speech prepared, but then I saw John Cale, who's amazing. I saw Joe Brown, It was like fantastic, you know. And I saw Chris Blackwell. We were never Island Records' favourite band. Owing largely to the fact we set fire to one of Chris's studios. And I was the person who had to ring Chris and tell him his studio was on fire. So I rang him up. I said, Chris, the studio's Basing Street. His studio's on fire. And he said, was it really necessary?
Have you paid the bill yet, Ian? We still owe him for that.
We still owe him?
Oh, we'll have a chat with him about that.
And I said, yes. So anyway, what was it, 40 years ago last Tuesday, we got together and we played around for about 6 years, like America and Europe and all the rest of it. And then you look back on it and it's like 5 minutes. And to get a Hall of Fame award or whatever it's called for 5 minutes work, I think it's a great deal. So I'd like to thank you very much. I'd love to thank my family. I'd love to thank the Mott, the Hoople family. And I'd love to thank MOJO. We take this award very seriously because MOJO's a serious magazine. Thank you very much. Thanks, Joe.
Well, when I was a kid, I couldn't afford to buy records because I spent all my dinner money, which was 60p a week, on one single. And so that's how our life was back in the days of Top of the Pops. Mm-hmm. And you bought a single, or you bought compilation records. And my first compilation album was an Island, probably Chris Blackwell compilation called LP. Which had a big P on the cover, real creative.
I don't remember that.
And it was a double album, and it was like 50 pence or something. So it's like it was the same price as one song. You got 25 songs, and there was a Mott the Hoople song there called "The Original Mixed Up Kid," which I, at the age of 11 years old, I just absolutely adored. I just thought it was brilliant. Absolutely adored that song. Yeah. There were you guys and Fotheringay and Free and Cat Stevens. Yeah, there was Nice Enough to Eat, Bumpers, and LP. ELPEA.
Because Island Records used to do like establish artists and then shove a little, the young ones coming up kind of thing. And so therefore, people who would normally not hear you, but they would listen to Cat Stevens and stuff like that, then they would pick up on one of ours, or not.
Yeah, well, I did. I picked up on the Original Mix-Up Kids and I was sold from that moment onwards. And then I'd listen to Radio Luxembourg fading in and out as it did, and heard Downtown as Record of the Week. And I just kind of, I loved this band that nobody else had ever heard of. And then...
Still haven't.
And then like a couple of years later or a year later, all of a sudden they're on Top of the Pops doing all them dudes, and I'm like, wow, what the fuck? Excuse my French. But
it's okay, it's not real telly.
It all went that way, and I've been a fan ever since. As Ian knows, we've known each other for 20-something years, and I'm a big supporter. I've always been a big supporter. I'm just I'm a guy in a rock band, but I'm a human being, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I tell the truth the way it is. And if it wasn't for these guys, especially Ian, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I really wouldn't, and I'll never forgive him for it.
The thing was, Ralph's was very unselfish. As selfish as these guys were off stage, they were very unselfish on stage. And you had enormous drums, big bass, and then you had the enormous Hammond organ going on. And then you had Ralph's, who will play very economically. He won't play much lead, he'll play with them. So you had a kind of a wall going on, which is never actually, I've only heard it on one record since. Most of the live records, they sound like crap. But it was a huge wall. It was like, you can't beat this, you have to obey. We loved our fans. I've been in factories for 10 years before I even got in the band. I was lucky to get in a band. And so I didn't feel any different to the people that were coming. And most of Mott's gigs were really the audience and us combined.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a bad gig, they didn't think we had a bad gig. They thought we all had a bad gig. Which is convenient.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. That's the
I
way
wish
forward.
we could have done that. For the few gigs that we've done like that. Jesus Christ.
Everybody in the audience took personal responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your fault that this gig was rubbish.